Hello, and I went through the torture of watching all of the Ant-Man movies again for the second time just to prove to you why the Ant-Man and Wasp movies are the worst Marvel movies to ever exist. Starting out, we're talking about the humor. Generally, the humor is the biggest problem in these movies. Paul Rudd is the least funny actor I have possibly ever seen. I haven't seen him in anything else probably, but in these movies, it makes me hate his guts. Honestly, if you got rid of him and literally put any other male actor as Ant-Man, it would make these movies 10 times better. All of his jokes are unnecessary and awkward, and they just don't ever hit. Also, Hank and Wasp literally are just like some of the most unfunny actors I've ever seen. Wasp made some decent jokes, but none of them actually were like funny enough to make me laugh or giggle. And Hank didn't make really any jokes, but he did make one joke that made me extremely uncomfortable. It was where Paul Rudd and Hank were acting all romantic because Hank's wife took over Paul Rudd, and that mess made me so uncomfortable. The best jokes in these movies are the ones with the Spanish guy where he's going through the flashback, and by far those are the best jokes, but they run them into the ground. They do it twice in the first movie and another time in both the other movies, and it's just so bad towards the last one, and they ruin that joke. Moving on, the CGI in these movies kinda carry because none of these movies have actual action in them. The second one kind of does, but for the most part, they're mostly CGI. And I feel like there wasn't enough actual fighting and action in these movies to say it's a good action movie. Because really, the whole time, I don't think Paul Rudd did any fighting. The next thing about CGI is the suits and the motions and stuff and the emotion they put into them talking is so bad. They literally look like brick walls standing there, putting no emotion or effort into their sentences or lines, and they just look so awkward standing there talking. And final thing for CGI is the last movie is literally, you might as well have just made an animated movie at that point. If the whole movie is CGI. I'm not even kidding. The whole movie felt like a CGI fest. It was awful. And my last reasoning is the story. The story in these movies aren't very bad to say. Like none of the events necessarily just happened for no reason. It did happen here and there, but it wasn't terrible. But all of the movies follow the same basic timeline of one thing happening after another, and it just kind of sucks. Like, I like to see more interesting things happening, and it feels like small little episodes of like one thing happening causing them to go to the next thing. It just really kind of sucked. It made these movies feel super childish and unserious. And when I'm watching a Marvel movie, I want it to be super serious, like Captain America style story. One of my favorite parts about these movies, though, is the comic accuracy felt super close. Like, none of the suits I saw necessarily shocked me from how far they were from the comics. I feel like they looked pretty close. All the suits had the super modernized look, though. Like, when you see all like the lines and stuff and people are complaining about modern suits, that's what they all looked like. But by far the worst designed character in these movies is Ghost. Ghost was set up horribly. Ghost in the comics is super creepy and lanky looking, and they did not nail that whatsoever. They were 1,000 miles off from nailing this look, and it's such a tragedy because I think Ghost would be such a fire character, and I think he would fit really well into the new Avengers, because none of the Avengers really have a spooky vibe, They're all kind of anti-heroes, but none of them are really villainous looking, and he's super villainous looking. And I think he would fit really well. So yeah, that's pretty much why these movies are so bad. I don't feel like this is an outrageous take at all, but these are the worst Marvel movies that they have ever released. I don't think it beats out Madam Web or Morbius, but it's just the fact that they just kept making them and no one liked them. I don't even think they did good in the box office. They just kept making them for some reason. And even compared to like Madam Web or Morbius, those movies are funnily bad. But these movies are just terrible. They aren't funny and they aren't good. And yeah, these are the deadbeat dads of superhero movies. And I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the summer. And thanks for watching. Bye.